Hey, it's Gerald from Lakers Fast Break. Anchor is the easiest way to make your next podcast. It's absolutely free, and their creation tools will allow you to record and edit your show right from your phone or your home computer. Anchor will then distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on great podcast outlets like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Radio Public, Google Podcasts, and many more. You can even make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. So download the free Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started on your next podcast. For another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Pop Culture Cosmos, the Lakers Fast Break, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and Game Source. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our great shows. If you can, please like, share, follow, support us any way you can. It is truly appreciated right here at the Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, and everything we do here at the Lakers Fast Break. It was a win for the Lakers. I like saying that. It flows very well off the tongue. Lakers win. Lakers win. They
barely win.
Well, no, it's preseason. It's okay. It's 119 to 112. Lakers win over the Orlando Magic. It was closer than what I thought it would be, but then again, it's the same situation that they had in their previous preseason game where they left it to a lot of the individuals that are on the back end of the bench. So it was kind of not exactly the most pleasing and aesthetically interesting game to see in the second half. But the Lakers in the first half, they truly dominated the Orlando Magic. Even with a poked eye for Anthony Davis, they were still able to go ahead and just really on both sides of the floor do very well. There were some things that they need to fix, and we'll talk about that in a sec. But here with me today to go ahead and break down the game real quick is my good friend. I know him as Tom Wong, but you know him as the guy behind LakerHolics.com. You got to go ahead and check out the conversation today at LakerHolics.com. It is LakerTom. And LakerTom, a win's a win. I will take it any way I can get it.
Yeah, there was a lot of good signs in the first half. I was sorry to see the second half sort of depreciate into a little bit more of a scrum. The Lakers just somehow couldn't seem to hold on to the ball, turn the ball over so many times, which led to a lot of points for the Magic. And then the fouls, we must have sent them to the line over and over and over. So there was a lot of that struggling that we sort of expected just because of this being a scrimmage and the guys being off for 4.5 months. So, I'll chalk up a lot of that. But, boy, the first half was really impressive. A little worried about AD, although he looked like he was smiling when he got back to the bench. And he sure played terrific. I mean, my God, his first half before up at the point where he got poked in the eye was really stunning. And we finally saw, what we'd been hearing all training camp, which was Kyle Kuzma was really dominating, and his shooting was just terrific. He had 25 points. He led the team in scoring. Really just dropped basket after basket in. It was a big part of that. And again, I like the fact that we went with AD at the 5 for that second quarter. Wasn't right. It wasn't as soon as we did it against the Mavs, but it was shortly right after that. And that was very effective. I mean, one of the big weaknesses we've had as a team has always been what happens when LeBron goes to the bench. And this particular first half when AD was in there, he just took over the game at that point in time, and it was great to see. So you hate to see the game degenerate down into, a close game where we actually gave up the lead at some point in time, but you got to be happy that the starters played well. KCP came back after a tough first game and was really made some clutch plays on offense and defense. I thought, like he was saying, Waiters Waiters continues to be nice and smooth, impressive. Dwight struggled a lot in this game. Turnovers, had 5 turnovers to match LeBron, and it just seemed to be fouling everybody left and right.
Alex Caruso, Alex Caruso coming back from the back contusion.
Fouled out.
Yeah, he fouled out. The fact that he was on the floor was great. The fact that he had 5 fouls in 7 minutes, not so great.
Yeah, those are things that you kind of expected. When you look at it back at it, though, the first 2 halves of the first 2 games basically were pretty impressive efforts by the Lakers. The Magic came out in that third quarter, scored 40 points against us after we'd really shut them down in the first half. They've got some shooters. They definitely. I've always liked DJ Augustine, and he was one of the guys that I've always thought would be a great option to add to the Lakers, and he showed it today. Vucevic has been playing very well, so it's a good scrimmage game to get in there. I think Frank would have liked to have had AD all game. I think at the start of the game, the Magic announcers had basically said that Bogle had wanted to try to have a 4-quarter rotation, get a chance to see what a regular playoff game rotation might be. But good effort, plus playing at noon in Orlando is an off time, so it was good to see that the Lakers didn't have any hesitation. They came out and played hard. LeBron scored 20 points, didn't shoot that well from the floor, but boy, he still played hard at both ends of the court, turned the ball over a lot. We had a lot of turnovers, 20 turnovers. And I don't even know how many points it led to, but it was a really weird box score just watching the game, because you could see that at one point, I think that the Magic actually scored more points from the free throw line than they did from the field. And we kept turning the ball over, and they only had, I think, 5 turnovers for the whole game, which is they do a good job of taking care of the ball. A lot of that is Augustine has always been a great, always had a very high assist to turnover ratio, and starting in place of for them for the first time in a while. I think that he really did a great job. Can't complain about the final results. I know you like the win. It's just a scrimmage, but I was still rooting for the win, especially when we got down a little bit at the end. It was nice to see us pull away and cinch the game up.
And one thing I want to talk about is one thing I was saying while you were off the air, and that was Kyle Kuzma. And I understand he just a great performance today, and it backs up everything that Coach Vogel has been saying about Kyle Kuzma, about how he's dominated in practices leading up to the scrimmages. Now, the first scrimmage that they had against the Dallas Mavericks, he was very unimpressive, and that was the Kuzma we've known for most of this year. But seeing him today, and that's the thing, hopefully people won't start relying upon it. And I'm not exactly going ahead and say that the Lakers should depend on 25 points and 7 rebounds every time out from Kyle Kuzma. I think that's unfair to ask, especially since AD was not in the lineup for a good portion of the game. Mm-hmm. I think that all we need to ask is he be more consistent. And while I'm not expecting the kind of percentages that we saw from Kyle Kuzma today, he's not going to shoot 76.9% from the field and 71.4% from the three-point area every game. That's not the case. I'm just asking him to be a little more consistent and not have, like you and I see, he has that one great game and then 5 bad games right after that. Right. So that's what I'm asking, is give me 3 good games out of the 5. That's all I'm asking.
I'd be real happy with 3 out of 5 too, Gerald. I think one of the things that I really did like is that Kyle seemed to be, and it didn't seem to matter to him who he was playing with. That was one of the things I noticed, that a lot of those first 4 threes that he hit, I kept writing down, oh, Kyle, 2 out of 2 for 3. Then it was 3 out of 3 for 3. Then it was 4 out of 4 for 3. He was playing with LeBron and AD at that point in time for those first 4 threes. And he looked smooth and comfortable. He made a nice drive to the basket with good physicality on it. He hit a little 2-point jumper turning around. And those are the signs of just taking his time, it seemed like, on the court, He seemed very smooth. It reminded me reminded me a lot of the game he had against the Celtics. I can't even remember how long ago that was, where he was the leading scorer and the hero of the game. But he basically seemed to be totally under control all the time and playing very confidently. And I think that's always been the big concern with Kuz, that if he didn't hit his first couple of shots, you'd worry about whether or not he would remain consistent. I thought he did a good job trying. I thought he did a good job on defense. There were a few times when he got beat, and JaVale or Dwight had to bail him out underneath, which led to an easy basket or a rebound from JaVale or Dwight's man. But in general, they were very active. I thought the first half defense was terrific. And then, it's the NBA. Guys get ahead and slack off and take it easy, and the other team suddenly gets hot, and all of a sudden you got a game. I don't think that would have happened had AD not been injured, because this is not the same team when you don't have Anthony Davis or you don't have LeBron James. You're talking about two of the top 5 players in the NBA. So you subtract one of those guys from the lineup, and you're not going to be the same powerhouse team you are. But the time that we've seen so far this season in these 2 scrimmages, when we've had AD and LeBron both on the floor, this team has been dynamite.
This is Raphael from NBADraftJunkies.com, and you are listening to the Lakers Fast Break.
Hey Lakers fans, looking for the best place to go for up-to-date news, information, original videos, articles, podcasts, opinion pieces, and discussions about the Los Angeles Lakers? Well, look no further than LakerHolics.com. With a legion of followers always there talking about everything Lakers and the NBA, there's no better place to go to share your fandom as the team heads toward another championship run. So stop by and be part of the conversation today at LakerHolics.com. I'll tell you what, though, another player that was dynamite was somebody that had a donut in the first scrimmage against Dallas, and that was KCP, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. His minutes were much more effective this time out.
Yep.
Excellent shooting performance today, and he didn't try to do too much. I think that was the best thing that I saw, was that he didn't just start chucking everything from 3. Basically, he shot everything from inside the arc. From inside the arc, did shoot 1 3-pointer and made it, but the fact is you saw a lot of the elbow jumpers that he really feels comfortable with, and the fact that he was able to give 17 points from the starting lineup shows to me that if given the opportunity, he just needs to go ahead and become a nice cog in this wheel, and the Lakers will go ahead and thrive from it. So I really was enthused by KCP's performance today.
Yeah, I thought he played well on defense too. He's a very active defensive player, and in many ways he's complementary to the Lakers starting lineup because he plays pretty much the same game as Bradley does. I mean, there are some differences in how aggressive Bradley is on the ball versus KCP, but you see where both of their bread and butter shots are basically layups going off of the drives, passes coming off of that elbow pick that the Lakers like to play, hitting that little mid-range jumper off of that. Quinn Cook also did a good job doing that same thing. He's like the third option on that play where they come across and Kuzma or whatever forward is in there will set that screen, and he's coming across left to right. And he can easily get a nice little 18-foot pull-up jumper there or continue to the basket for a layup. And then if the center comes out to challenge him, then just loft the ball up there for JaVale or Dwight to just jam it down. So I think KCP's he's played, I know you were on him for the consistency in the first game, but when you look back at his game records, if you go in the ESPN and look at his game scores as he goes along, he has been incredibly consistent this year. His shooting has been consistent. His number of shots have been consistent. And he's been a valuable player on the bench and when he was starting. So I really feel strongly that we're not going to miss a beat with losing Bradley. Now, knock on wood, that's as long as we don't lose a couple of other guys, because you lose some of your depth, that does put you more at risk. If you go into a playoff series and somebody gets injured or one of the guards gets poked in the eye or something happens like what happened to AD today. So it's a touchy situation, and you always want to have as many people as you can in a lineup. It'll be good to see Morris play when we play Monday. At least the word is that he's going to be ready to go. I think he adds a lot of flexibility because we're a little short on the wings, and he can also play the 5 or play the 4 with AD, and then take on a bigger guy underneath than let's say Kuzma could. But it was a great game in that sense that I still had the same feelings about watching the NBA that I didn't hear any piped-in music in this game, so you must have been really happy about that. But you end up still watching the game like we used to. Even though the fans aren't there, the Lakers bench has been very energetic and cheering on the guys.
Well, it was Orlando's feed. Okay, let's put this. Okay, they did 2 things right. Orlando's feed, and I told you this on Twitter already at LakerTom on Twitter, from me at Lakers Fast Break. First thing is they had their regular announced crew there.
Yeah,
and I'm throwing shade at you, Spectrum Sportsnet. Okay, you have. I don't care if it's the TV or the radio guys because they're both very solid.
We've been better with Bill and Steve calling the game.
I actually prefer, to me, John Ireland and Michael Thompson. I think they're a little bit better.
The radio crew?
Yeah, but that's, to me, of the 2, I think they're both very good. I think of the 2, I'd probably say the radio is a little bit better than the TV, but I could have used either one of them, from Chris McGee telling me every single time, mismatch. Oh, he's got a mismatch. Oh, he's got a mismatch. Okay, I get it. There's a lot of mismatches. That's part of the game. But also, the piped-in 2K crowd music. And I sent it to you a message on Twitter about the NHL using EA NHL's video game crowd noise. Just, no. Just cut it. Cut it right now. Stop.
Gerald, I'll give it to you. I agree. After hearing a couple of the scrimmages where they weren't piping in the noise, I don't think they need it. In fact, I could very clearly hear the squeak of the sneakers, the bounce of the ball,
sound.
and that is better. I agree with you. That is better. It'll be interesting to see what prevails. One of the things I thought was interesting that the announcers brought up was this virtual fans. I wonder how you qualify to be one of those virtual fans who are going to be up on the big boards on the sidelines during games.
Check your season tickets, my friend.
Oh, yeah, that's probably it, huh?
That would be my first guess. That would be my first guess. But to hear the Lakers bench...
I don't have a season ticket, Gerald. Does that mean I'm not going to be able to be a virtual fan?
Let's say the
or
odds
does it mean that we're going to see Jack on the sidelines?
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm just going to tell you this. Your odds, like they would be here in Vegas, would be very long. Very long indeed. But I'll tell you what. I did like to hear the bench, and hearing the bench to me gets me going, gets me riled up, because you see the excitement on the bench, and you hear the excitement on the bench, and you hear some of the things that are going on. I personally enjoy it. I personally love the squeak of the squeakers, the squeak of the sneakers, and just the action on the floor. You hear the shouts, you hear you don't hear the profanities like you would normally do, because I'm sure they were flowing, but
they're a little set off away from the floor.
Yeah, but you can hear them on Twitter.
Where they're high-fiving and illegally coming onto the court to congratulate people and so forth.
Go to Twitter, you'll be able to hear them. But anyways, you get to hear the excitement, you get to hear how into the game these teams are. And the benches, I understand, and I think they understand, that they've got a realization that they need to become the crowd, that the crowd is not there. So even with a virtual crowd, they are doing more. And it's not just the Lakers now, which we saw during the course of the season. It's all these other teams really providing encouragement to their fellow players as they're going ahead and performing out there on the court. I noticed Denver the other day when Bol was doing so well that the entire Denver Nuggets team was supporting him and really being vocal about you just cheering him on. And you see that with the Lakers as LeBron's going down the lane and going for a slam, or he's going on the fast break, or Kuzma is doing I could hear from them, Kuz, from the actual bench.
They were excited watching Kuz drop those four threes in a row, man.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. That, to me, is much more involving than putting in piped in noise. I mean, it needs to be gone, and it needs to be gone yesterday. I said that on Lakerholics.com, and I'll say that until the end of the season. Do not.
You win that argument, Gerald. The evidence is coming in your way. Well, I think what's interesting, though, is that we have to remember, too, that for the networks, you know that ABC and TNT are watching these scrimmages and watching what's happening on it. And I still give Adam Silver and the NBA great credit for the way they've set up the court with the big screens going all the way around, and they'll be able to do a lot of messaging and so forth. And this whole idea of virtual fans, I think, is going to be very interesting.
Absolutely. It will be very interesting.
I'd love to see Jack Nicholson and a bunch of the guys that are the normal rooters up there and season ticket holders. So God bless them, give them. They put out their big money for that thing, and if they can't watch the playoffs like they used to be able to do, maybe we can collect some money from them and they can become virtual fans.
You know what? Maybe they can add a couple extra slots open just for two individuals that I know and appreciate right here at the Lakers Fast Break. That would be awesome.
A great idea. That'd be a great idea.
I know my daughter would love it. My special Lakers fan daughter.
I'll put on my crazy Laker outfits and make a fool of myself with no problem.
Exactly. Well, I have one of my daughters is a true diehard Lakers fan through and through, and she would be excited to be a part of it, and she'd have on her jerseys and whatnot. But getting back to the game overall, I want to go ahead and add a couple more points before we head on out.
Okay.
Dion Waiters. I said it while you were off the air, and I think offensively there's a lot there that he can give. Still out of condition, still huffing and puffing a little bit. His rotations on defense still needs to work on, but offensively he is doing a lot of things that we're not seeing from a Lakers backup at all this year. So it's really impressive to see. So I want to hear your thoughts on Dion Waiters.
Well, I remember the post that Waiters just put on Instagram basically saying that he still got buckets when he was fat. And he did. He made a couple of moves today that one move where he drove into the lane, dribbled and did a jump stop with a behind the back dribble to lose his man for a layup. And his shooting, his mid-range shooting and so forth is very smooth. He gives the Lakers something that they really lacked, and you can see why he's going to get valuable minutes. I can tell you right now that the Lakers have got to be thrilled with how he's playing. I didn't see him take bad shots. I saw JR take a couple of shots that were, you could say, typical JR shots.
But it was nice to see him out there.
Sometimes you go, no, it's one of those are the shots that the coach goes, no, oh, yes.
But the thing is, he was helping play make, created another good offensive scheme. He just went ahead and passed the ball in, got it in there, and got an assist out of it. Yes, I was surprised.
Harder to do that at 34 than 28.
Yeah, and it was nice to see him getting some run early in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of surprised by it, but again, this is something where you need to get him in condition to see what he can do to help this team, and getting him some run early to go ahead and find out if he can become a decent contributor to the team is interesting going forward. I want to talk also about Quinn Cook. Quinn Cook is just, I tell you what, I've been saying all year they need to go ahead and give him some minutes and give him some consistent run. And I think that, yes, he is a defensive liability, but offensively he gets you something as far as quickness, speed, and also the fact that he can hit three-pointers gives you another weapon out there.
Pull-up jump shot too.
Yeah,
a 2-point pull-up jump shot that the Lakers run off of the left elbow is just the perfect play for him. That was Bradley's bread and butter, and it's turned out it still is KCP's bread and butter. It's also Quinn Cook's bread and butter. I think I've always said that I as much as Rondo will hopefully be back and be able to contribute, and as much as Bradley was responsible for us having the record that we were and being in the position we were before the coronavirus shut down the league, the Lakers are going to be better off for this playoffs having the three-point shooting that they're going to get from Dion Waiters and from KCP starting and from J.R. Smith being added to the lineup. And I think that's really what they're doing with JR. They want to get him into shape. He's not going to play big minutes, but there are going to be some fourth quarters in playoff games where he'll get a call. He'll get a call off of the bench, and he's proven in the past that he can hit those shots. He still needs to really get into shape, and that's why he's getting the minutes now. They really believe in him, and they're going to give him some shots. Hopefully he'll be able to do it. If he can come in and make some shots at critical times, it could win a few games in the playoffs and could be a contributor for the championship.
We're signaling the ref for a quick timeout, but we'll be back with more of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. Check out what's been going on with the Pop Culture Cosmos Show and the PCC Multiverse.
I see the potential for basically like another Netflix kind of paradigm shift where here comes this other major player. They have a ton of resources. Apple could change the way that entertainment is consumed.
They say it's the only time this year that you'll have stars from each brand battling each other, and we know it's not going to be the case, but they like to say that, and more power to them, I guess.
Well, it's a big first step, bringing all those superheroes together. There were definitely some parts of the movie that I really enjoyed, and then there were some parts that I thought just kind of fell short of expectation.
Part of it has to be something to do with how it's being promoted, and this is a thing where audiences do not agree with critics.
That's the Pop Culture Cosmos Show.
And the PCC Multiverse, every week on Apple Podcasts.
And over a dozen of your favorite streaming and podcasting options. Once again, I'm speaking to LakerTom. You got to go ahead and check out what he's doing today at LakerHolics.com. In fact, you see our beautiful faces right there. Go ahead and check out our post-game report in the near future, hopefully on LakerHolics.com or on YouTube or right here on Facebook Live. We truly appreciate it. There's blogs, there's podcasts, there's videos, there's so much more videos from our good friend, right here, Rafael Barlow from the NBA Draft Junkies. He's even doing some stuff right now for LakerTom. So LakerHolics.com is the place to go. Jamie Sweet's got his thoughts there. Really want to go ahead and check it out and also be part of the conversation. There's always something going on and flowing on at LakerHolics.com. I'll tell you what, Tom, it's been great talking to you about today's game. It's nice to see win. Also want to go ahead and give a big shout out to Jonathan Big Baby Soulful for those kind words he's been saying right now, watching us on Facebook Live. Truly appreciate it. And check out his shows, the Lakers Talk 101 on YouTube. Cannot thank him enough for doing so. Also as well, check out the stuff I have coming up later in the week right here at the Lakers Fast Break broadcast, because I've already recorded interviews with JB Ellis from the program. Plus also as well, I had some great guests on as well coming up later this week as well on the program. So check it out, Lakers Fast Break, wherever you get your podcasts. Cannot thank everyone enough for listening. Cannot thank everybody enough for watching. But before we head on out, LakerTom, please give us an update on what's going on at LakerHolics.com.
Well, we have the new site up for, I think, almost 6 days now, and a lot of people learning how to use the various new social features on the site. It's one of the things that we're going to be doing, and we're hoping to have it set up for the first game against the Clippers, is we're going to have some live group chats so that people can just log in during the game with your phone or with your computer, type a few words, congratulate somebody on a great shot, and just basically exchange some comments that you normally do when you're watching the game. So we're hoping everybody will pick up their cell phone and come to LakerHolics.com at the start of the game next week. We'll hopefully have this up and running for the Clippers. We may, I don't think we'll have it ready for the test on Monday's game. It was great to see today's game be added to the NBA TV schedule because it wasn't on it originally.
Yeah.
So I haven't heard if Monday's game is on there either. So that'll be something I'll be looking forward to. But we're really excited about this whole group chat thing. I think it could be really a lot of fun for Laker fans. We're limited to having no more than 50 people on the group chat. But if you're at all interested, check it out on the site, and we'll have stuff up about it during the week as we promote it, and looking forward to it. I think also Rafael Barlow's follow up on his NBA Lakers draft picks. He's got this new series, Lakers Film Junkies, which is part of his NBA Draft Junkies website and YouTube channel. So Raphael should have his second video up in a few days. He'll be going through the various needs on the Lakers lineups and the roster. And he'll be following that up throughout the season as we go along, especially in the off season. We'll be looking at trades and draft prospects and getting his expert analysis on the guys that could fit the various needs that the team has. We've got all of Gerald's great podcasts are going to be on there. So you can log into those. You can just click a button and listen to any of them right on the site. You don't have to jump anywhere. Everything is right on the site. We got a bunch of new links that we're going to be putting up for to all of Gerald's various endeavors, Raphael's endeavors, my articles on Medium and LakerTom on Twitter. So we've got a lot of resources. It's a one-stop place for you to go if you really want a home away from home for the Lakers.
Once again, be part of the conversation today at LakerHolics.com. Also, check out some great stuff that we got going on with Fago White Franklin III and Jennifer Cobb. They stopped by as well on the show, and I'm going to have that interview coming up later this week. Lakers Fast Break. Anywhere you get your podcast, please give us that 5-star review. If you have any questions for us, LakersFastBreak@yahoo.com or at LakersFastBreak on Twitter and Lakers Fast Break on Facebook, where you can check out all this great action, all these live streams that we do. And, of course, any Lakers news also hits right there at Lakers Fast Break on Facebook. Well, my friend, it's been great talking to you. I like the sound of Lakers win. Lakers win. To me, it just, again, flows very well off the tongue. And I just look forward to saying that many, 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 many more times as we go into the bubble even further.
Well, it's always better to win than lose. I'll say that much for you.
Yes, yes.
I think that the truth of the matter is the wins and losses don't matter at this point in time. What's really important is the way that LeBron and AD are playing. If we get the bonuses of Kuzma and Waiters, KCP contributing and get the rest of the guys back, it's good to have Alex Caruso back and playing. And I'm looking forward to seeing Markieff get back on the court. I think he's a key part of the game. It's going to be fun. It's a strange, unprecedented, weird bubble playoffs that we're going to be facing here. I feel confident if we as long as we've got LeBron James leading the way, the Lakers have got a better chance than anybody else to come away with the championship. That they do, my friend. That they do. Once again, I'm speaking to LakerTom. Be part of the conversation today at LakerHolics.com. Well, my friend, it's been great talking to you once again. I look forward to seeing and hearing you very soon. I think we've got something planned in the not-too-distant future coming up, so we'll talk more great basketball right here at the Lakers Fast Break podcast.